So PSV, DOS, Arsenal, 0. Could have been cinco. Could have been 5. 3 disallowed goals. Highline FC, shocking performances. When we only needed a point to top the group, which I still think we'll do. So it don't matter, does it? Oh, just brush that under the carpet as well, because we're going to top the group anyway. And yeah, Ramsdale was probably man of the match at the time. We're going to do player ratings later with Kenny and Jez, but follow Kenny Ken 1972 on Insta. The link will be in the description at some point. Kenny, was you as upset, angry, and baffled, amazed, confused, and any other expletive or whatever? I can't even get my words out. You speak. Go.
Well, first and foremost, we've heard some really worrying and shocking news from Milan regarding our player Pablo Mari. He's involved in a very serious assault, and we don't know how seriously injured he's not, but we know at least 4 of the people attacked were seriously injured. It's a knife wounding, so I want to wish him all the best in terms of mentally and physically, and also say that my prayers with his family, and I hope it's not too serious. But mentally, I want our player to recover, and it's just appalling. But in terms of the football match, one thing I want to say is that the next time anyone dares to have a go at us about our analysis of our performances, and not just the good bits, i.e. he's had an assist, he's made a great tackle, what you're saying about this player and that player, please don't do that. The reason why we do this is because we nag and like I said, make observations, constructive criticism, because we think that if you keep on being sloppy in games, you keep on making the wrong team selections, this will happen. This has been coming for a good few weeks now. This has been, if you want to talk about Liverpool game and the fury of it and the fact that there was a bounce back ability, Liverpool exposed certain things about us defensively, and this is just being poured into the games. If you look at the game against in Norway 2 weeks ago, we were poor. They opened us up. We didn't get punished. They're not good enough. And then you look at Leeds, VAR was at its best, and it was for us this time. We could have got punished, should have got battered. And then we go into Eindhoven was a nothing game. They were negative. Southampton, second half. And this is just a continuation. First and foremost, you've got to look at the energy levels of our players, even though people say it's not excuses. But when you're chopping and changing, they're going to come at this game and they're shake. Martin Odegaard, please, can someone please address this guy's performances? How many times consecutively can a player be substituted? He got substituted in the 57th minute. He won an injury as well.
When was the last time, Kenny, he played 90 minutes? Can anyone tell us?
Oh, you tell me. He got substituted in the 57th minute. Your junior partner, my guy Fabio Vieira, outshone you. He was the one who was linking up the play. He's the one who was putting through the passes. And he's the one who is now, in my opinion, worth his place more than you. Yes, you've got the armband, but this has to be addressed. If you carry on playing like this, then we've got to look at you and look at your form and maybe put you on a bench, because that was just abysmal. Look, first half, I had no problems. I was happy the way we held the ball under control. I wasn't happy with our defending, because let me tell you something, VAR saved their asses, because they got in behind us again, twice. 2 disallowed goals, and if it wasn't VAR, they would have gone in. They got open up, slide rule passes. One weight club. Kieran Tierney, one of my favourite players, a player that I respect. He's done it. He made mistakes. Let's talk about the goals. The first goal from a throw-in. Eddie Nketiah, you've got to win that bloody ball. Don't just lose the ball. And then, Saliba, who we praise a lot, he was out of position. In terms of like the hold-up play in Lyon, you need to get there. And then Veerman as basically a shot on goal, no challenge, boom, goal. Albert lagging, and then you look at the goal from the set piece. For the love of God, Tierney, it shouldn't be going from it. Saliba, you got to get there and make a decision. You had a free man, you had to know what to do. You go to Tierney, said, no, he's mine. I'm going to go there. Ramsdale has to come for the ball, because in the middle goal, go claim it. When you claim it, you take someone out, you just let the ball in. It was an awful performance. And we've been saying this, we're blue in the face, but what happens? We'll be called negative. It's not personal. We want Arsenal to play better. And if Arsenal, want to improve, they got to cut this out. Because I'll tell you one thing, we're battering them now. What do you think the manager's doing? Do you think he's going around? Do you think he's going to... He's not... Because I'll tell you one, he can't be anyone's fault. There's no way he's going to look at the Liverpool game where we made a few mistakes and, we had the energy levels up and say, you know what, glad we won, but there was mistakes there. There's no way, he's not going to notice the fact that teams are outrunning us.
Yep.
Teams that are setting off are getting slidable passes, making runs, and we're not able to quell that. It doesn't matter whether Albert's playing or anyone's playing.
There was an instance in that game where I think it was the third disallowed goal. Yeah, where I can't remember. I think it was Xavi Simons. Maybe it weren't. Was running in from his own half into our half. There was 5 players around him, and not one player put a tackle in. Kenny,
no,
he pops it out to the right. They whip it in. Goal disallowed.
Yeah,
it's like, are you going to tackle him?
Exactly.
Wait, now take one for the team. Do something.
Yeah, and the thing is, people say, "Why are you guys getting hit up? It's only Europa League." The reason why we're getting eaten up is because these bad habits tail into our league form. That's why, because the bad the non-performance, even though we won against in Norway against Bodø Glimt, transferred itself into Leeds. How did we win that? Thank God for Saka. But we were basically hanging on. We hung on, and that's what was going to happen. You can't keep on playing these, these kind of performance. Players not turning up. Xhaka was nowhere to be seen today. That's the first time he hasn't been seen. But first half I thought he was fine. Second half, he was part of the problem. But we have to be concerned about the captain and his performances, because this is another game where where he has been less than effective. He is off form. We should be able to say that. It's not personal. I want him to play better. I was ecstatic with his form first half of the season. But at the moment, we are playing with 10 players. And the reason why...
with 9, because Sam Conga's taller, mate.
Yeah, but even though Albert, the fact is that Albert, again, if you're not taking a risk, i.e. making that killer pass and making those runs, which you're capable of doing, then you're offering nothing. You shouldn't let the game pass you by. You can't keep on happening. We shouldn't be having to bring on Saka, Partey, and Jesus in a European League game where I believe, and I stand by it, that the quality of opposition, it is there for the taking. We should have enough minerals to go and win the game. But unfortunately, our level of performances, maybe it's complacency or fatigue, is making us force these players to come on the pitch. And I'm not saying that these guys made a difference, because they did nothing. Saka had nothing to do, Jason over. And then if you want me to really be picky, Eddie Nketiah, you got a new contract. You got the number 14 shirt. I had to witness that. It's not just me. My brother was watching it with me. That was pathetic. The second time in a week. You have not contributed, because you can't use the excuse that you were playing on the left wing. You played in your position.
Yep.
And yet, no show.
He had a couple of chances where he tried to backheel it, which was kind of clever. The keeper made a meal of the save and camera saved it. Yeah. Then he had the one where he's running across the box and smashed it first time. In that instance, any striker that is half decent takes a touch, steadies themselves, gets on balance and whips it. He just shit his pants and whipped it. Yeah. Why? Bro, Kenny, this guy, 100 grand a week. We begged this guy to stay. He was out of contract, Kenny.
And that's the thing. You take a risk with these decisions, and sometimes it comes to haunt you. He's got to do better, because this is your competition, Edwards. The Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, and on the appearance, come from the bench and playing in Europe. It's your competition when you've got to shine. You've got to look at them, your manager and I said, look, I deserve to be playing. Right now, you're not worth your place in the squad. We've set the wrong lad alone. Because the fact is that we know what you're capable of, but if you're not producing it, even after the fact that you've got the back from your manager, then we've got to look again, because it's not good enough. All right? People say, well, it's only Europa League. Yeah, we haven't won a European trophy for 28 years. This is a competition that I earmarked and Edu earmarked for us to go on and win, as well as challenges for the league. All right? And this is why when people say it's going to be our turn, when people say the squad's too thin, when there's the evidence. But even so, regardless of the squad's too thin or not, the fact of the matter is, and I say the fact of the matter is, surely players who have been reserved for this conversation can actually shake a leg and play. Surely you
covered themselves in glory.
Not at all. The Sam Lukonga, you're doing a very good job of doing a Tavares and getting yourself out alone.
At the same time, though, right? We're 15 minutes to go. We're 2-0 down. He takes 2 defenders off in Tierney and was it?
Tierney was poor. Tierney was
shocking. Who else
shocking today.
Who else did he take off? Rob Holding?
Tierney
and Tommy Asu. On Ben White and Gabriel.
He took
bro. We're chasing a game. He's
you say that, but where's the evidence? Defend Reece with. Reece wasn't great. Reece when he came up was kept safe. Yeah.
But when you're 2-0 down with 15 to go and you've been jumping around landing airplanes in Eindhoven, right? You then take off Tommy Asu and you take off Tierney and you bring on Ben White and Gabriel. If you're PSV, you're sitting there going, they've conceded, mate. Yeah, they've conceded.
Well, yeah, definitely
conceded, Kenny, against Aston Villa with 15 minutes to go on the last day of the season. They wouldn't have won the title.
Oh, and that's the thing. It's not the fact it's PSV Eindhoven. It's the fact that these are tailing off and it's getting into our league performances and we haven't been playing well. And that's why, with frustration, I have not been waiting for an opportunity to try and dig our guys out and just our boys out. I'm just because I've enjoyed this season, but don't give people like Joe Cole the opportunity to say, yeah, it's times like this where you've got to be realistic with Arsenal and probably say the squad's too thin. You're giving with performances like this, you're giving the doubters outside the fan base the opportunity to say, same old Arsenal.
Fact, absolute fact. Listen, on that bombshell, we're going to wrap this up. Make sure you follow Kenny Ken 1972 on Insta. Jez's fan cam's coming out in a minute. Mine's out, and then Matt's coming out after that. Player ratings is later. We're out of here. And shambolic, absolutely shambolic. We roll on to Forest at the weekend. Adios, amigos. Arteta fuera para siempre.
Not impressed, not pretend impressed, Mikel. Not impressed.